This game was fucking amazing, man. I like this game a lot. This was an extreme pleasure to play. Look, man. Look, I don't. This is the hardest thing to explain, but this game, when I played the remasters, they felt like a game straight out of the past. Now, nostalgia kicked in and that felt pretty good. I was never a Dreamcast guy, so I never really played them. I had my pal had a Dreamcast. He showed me Shenmue, and I played that a little bit as a kid, but all I would really do is play in the arcades in the Shenmue game, and that was it. I'd play something in there because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't understand the game. But when the remasters came out, and I gave it a shot on stream, I fell in love with these games. Like, not only is there some of that nostalgia there, but we're also talking, this is like a martial arts flick. It's really designed like a martial arts flick, an old school martial arts thing. The only problem is that it follows that pacing, but it doesn't have as much kung fu in it as those flicks do. I don't know why he doesn't put in more kung fu. Like those cutscenes of all that stuff, it's kind of janky. It doesn't quite look right. You know, it's a little weird, but it's okay because it still looks cool. It's like Virtua Fighter type of martial arts, and it looks good. I like it. I'm happy with it. Although it's pretty janky. It looks kind of soft. You know, this particular game did a better job at portraying the actual martial arts. But there was just not very much of it. There wasn't a lot of martial arts scenes that really showed off the kung fu. I want a lot more of that. Like, a lot more of that. There really isn't showing very much of it. I want more. I want more training. I want more kung fu orient. I want to hang out with the grandmasters. Everything else is fine. He doesn't. The pacing is all right. The ESL language is funny. The ESL language is funny. It all comes together in this weird mesh of like, it tickles something about me. And I think it's my appreciation for old kung fu flicks. To see it in a game format, following so true the old martial arts films, really tickles me. It really does. It tickles. It feels good. And even though the controls are pretty sloppy and the gameplay is just... There's no way anybody who's played an Xbox would appreciate this kind of gameplay. There's no way. It's too old. It's too old and stiff and wooden and Sega. It feels like a Sega game. None of it bothers me because I'm so entrenched by the feeling and the atmosphere, the scenery, and, you know, it looked pretty good for a game, right? I mean, it looked all right. I've seen a lot worse. It looked very reasonable for what it was. I absolutely love the game. I do. I think this game so far... This game is probably my 2020 game of the year 2020. I think it's going to be. We're going so strong into this. Like, I haven't felt this good since I played Monster Hunter. I'm being honest with you. I have not felt this good since I played Monster Hunter. This game hit everything that I wanted it to hit. And the remasters... It was nostalgia at first, but then it really built up this whole, wow, this is like a kung fu flick, and then it really absorbed me. And then at the end of the remasters, looking forward to Shenmue 3, like, it really delivered. This game really, honestly, it really delivered in the way I wanted it. It felt like the last couple of games moved on. It's perfect. It's perfect. It really just hits everything I could ever want. I don't know how better to explain it. It really is... one of those things where my usual criteria of, like, you know, controls need to be important, fucking, you know, things need to line up right, it needs to feel good, it needs to play good, mechanics, all that stuff, I am waiving all that stuff simply because it attracts me to the martial arts feel. It feels like I am playing a martial arts movie, an old school Jackie Chan laughing hyena sort of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that. And I appreciate that so much that it makes me really enjoy it immensely. Even though as like a modern game, there's no way I could suggest this to anybody. You have to be a fan of Shenmue to like this. This Shenmue 3, this is not going to attract new people. There's no way. They would have to completely... The guy would have to do totally different. He'd have to completely change it up. everything. Like, everything. He would have to change absolutely everything for this to be like a modern game that people can really lose their shit over. But then you lose the magic, right? I mean, the whole thing about Shenmue is that it's this weird, awkward kung fu film brought to Game Zone and done on the Dreamcast originally, but now with like modern stuff, it still feels a lot like it was on the Dreamcast. I think maybe the guy just didn't really take advantage of like modern stuff. He just he wanted to bring that feel, that old school feel up into the current game, and he did it. He really did it. Like, I have no problems with reviewers bombing this game, saying that this is old, it does nothing, it's the worst game. I have no problem with them saying that because, number one, they didn't get paid to say nice things. Number two, it does nothing that current AAA games do. So, like, this game is very much opposite direction as any current game could possibly get. And for me, it works out perfect. It works perfectly because it's trying to do something. It's trying to get you into a mood, a mindset, and it does such a good job of putting you there that I don't want to analyze the game in modern terms. I don't want to, because I see what it's trying to do and I appreciate it immensely. It's great. That's my defense of this game, of Shenmue 3. That's why I love it. I legitimately love it, like, a lot. I think it was great. I'm going to remember this until Shenmue 4. If a Shenmue 4 even happens, who knows? Fucking... What a fucking ride. I'm so happy. This is a big smile. And I've had the big smile this whole game. Many years of crowdfunding. Damn, this is a lot of reading. During development, I expanded the scope beyond what I had originally envisioned. I'm happy we were able to include distinct Shenmue charm. That he did. Small resonance in your heart. See, read this shit, man. For as long as those who wish to see Shenmue live on, I will never give up on my own personal journey to complete its story. Shenmue 3, the story is with you. I hope that together we can continue to spin the tale. And Shenmue 4. This goes out to all who ever loved and supported Shenmue. Man, this is a beautiful letter. You know, when you beat Resident Evil, one of the Resident Evils has this same thing, where, like, the ending says, like, you guys are the best, we love you, Resident Evil is amazing, and, you know, this is a love letter to people who love Shenmue. This is talking to me. Except I didn't back it. I just bought the game full price when it came out. I didn't back it. But you know what? I think I will back a Shenmue 4. If there becomes a Kickstarter or something, I'm seriously going to consider seeing if I can get into the game somehow. That's what I would love to be, like an NPC in the game or something. That would be amazing. I would look good, right? Just fucking with my glasses off. I would be a good NPC in Shenmue. But I got the balding hair, you know. I could be like an ex-martial artist. I could be like the Dan Hibiki of a next Shenmue 4 or something. It would be amazing. I got the head for it. I got the facial structure. I sound goofy. It's perfect. I'd fit right in. Man. That was a satisfying ride. Is that it? I guess that's it, huh? I thought I was going to have to press a button. You're already in Shenmue 3? I think I'm just streaming it. I'm not in it. Ooh, man. What is there else to say? What more is there to say? This game was everything I could have envisioned. I wanted it, and I got it. I'm exceptionally pleased with Shenmue 3. Damn, again? Oh, it's just restarting. Yeah. Alright, yeah. And so you get to continue. You get to continue where you left off, but it's going to be, you have to choose and shit. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just, it did everything I wanted. I love it. Shenmue 3, the guy did an amazing job. He stuck true to the series, and he did it right. Everything is correct, as far as I can tell. Shenmue 4, though, I really want more combat. I want more combat. I want it to be more combat focused. I want more training opportunities. I want more kung fu cutscenes. Maybe it could be quick time. It could not be quick time. I know Shenmue has a tradition of quick time elements, but part of the modern thing is that I wouldn't mind them getting away from the quick time. I think people hate that stuff. I will admit that Shenmue 3 did a pretty good job. They lowered the amount of quick time events, but they are still very fast. I mean, I would miss, and that's kind of upsetting. But that could be negotiated. I'm not really worried about that. That's just something that maybe modern people would appreciate getting out. I don't know. But more combat, more kung fu, more training Ryo, whatever, with the kung fu masters. I'd like to do more masters. I would like unique training things like we had these very basic ones like horse stance and 1-inch punch and rooster stepping. Yeah, those were okay, but I want some like more convoluted, like you find a grandmaster and he teaches you a new martial arts technique for training, and then he teaches you a new technique or something. And I would like those techniques to be more usable outside of the cutscenes. Like the reverse body check is obviously something that worked really well as a cutscene material, but I would like to see the reverse body check be used in combat. But then in combat, I would like to see a little bit more out of the combat as well, because right now it's a little bit strange. I like it because it's odd, but I feel like there could be some more depth to it, and they haven't really done that. They're not really diving into the depth of the combat, which is unfortunate because I think there could be something really cool there. They just haven't really quite hit it yet. The guy hasn't come up. For one thing, there's no counters, right? One of the moves in the game is called like a counter elbow or something. Counter elbow. X, triangle, triangle. I wrote it down. And I tried to use it as a counter, but it does not work as a counter. It has a dodge property into it, but it doesn't have a actual counter. There's no parry. If he introduced some kind of a parry into the combat system, I'm not sure how he'd want to do it. Maybe a just dodge or a just block, something like that. A parry, or maybe a move that has a parry window as an element to it. That would really make things a little bit more spiced up. I would like that a lot. It feels like something that you can kind of work for. It would give you a bit more reason. Because right now, part of the combat is that really you want to dodge a lot. Because if you block, you get hit. You don't have much stamina, much of a block meter to negate attacks with. You lose a lot of it really fast. So you're really encouraged to juke around everywhere and whiff punish all the time, which is totally fine. But it's not as engaging as if you had options, right? So a counter move would be great. I couldn't get the counter elbow to ever work. There needs to be more of like there needs to be like a specific window of counter, and if you get hit during that window, you go into something, just anything would be great. A parry of that sort, a counter of that sort would be great. And using these really cool reverse body check, being able to use those in the game. You were able to do that with some of the moves in the previous games. Like that dual push up on the tree in the last one where you're like punching the tree with your palm all day. I wanted more stuff like that where, the story was just him trying to learn Kung Fu, going through maybe ridiculous training schemes like Chambers of Shaolin or something. Just anything. I really want more of that. This one really felt a lot more story-oriented. This chapter, this particular one, felt like they were just trying to get through the story, get to a spot. But at the same time, they had grandmasters in there, and they were teaching me stuff, but they were pretty fast. They just... the drunken guy in the village, he kind of was cool, but... he was just like, capture some ducks, do some rooster stance, okay, next day. And then it kind of repeated until he showed me the move, and that was it. I would have liked something more. I like that stuff. I would have liked something more interesting. I don't mind that it was like catching chickens at the end of the session and having to do that for a few days. That part's fine. But I would have been cool if there was something to master each time, each day. Like he had a new training regimen or something like that. It kind of represents the whole, you have to put in the work. Like the last Grandmaster guy was like, you got to put in the work. You got to apply a lot. You got to do a lot. You got to put in the work. I like that. The game makes me want to put in the work for Kung Fu. But like as a game, I think they need to put in more to make more people feel like putting in that work. And then that is going to be like the mastery of Shenmue. I think that would really make an actual game that you could tell people, hey, this game's pretty fun. You actually learn to be a martial artist, and you actually build up martial art moves, and you do that. I think he can do it. I think this guy can do it, and he's got a cool story that's straight out of an old-ass martial arts flick. I think he can pull it off. It's a lot of hopes, though. I don't think he can do it with Shenmue 4. Putting all that in there, honestly, I think he just needs to focus on one of those things. Either make it more about the Kung Fu through the combat system, or through the story and spending more time with Kung Fu Grand Masters. Because look how Lon D is already completely shuts me down, right? I can't do anything to Lon D. Let me spend time with Grandmasters, learn something cool through them, and then go from there. Learn something more involved than just a move. Learn more than just a move. Learn some training regimes or something, and kind of develop those Grandmasters. I want to know a bit about their background and how they interact with other people. Because like the old guy that was drinking and shit, he was all like, you learn a lot about a guy through fists, and we're like the best of friends, but only in the martial arts world. Like, I want to dive into that more. I want to get more interested in that. Cutscenes where I go off to a temple and I live as a Buddhist Shaolin monk for a while or something. Like you could take a page out of Kingdom Never Came, right? There's a section in that game where you go to a church and you pretend to be a monk at the church, and all you do is monk-like activities. There's a few hours where you're doing some work. There's a few hours where you're translating scripture, and there's a few hours of prayer every morning, and then there's a few hours of dinner, and then I think that's it. And then the nighttime comes around and you're done. It's while you're doing that in that game, you're trying to steal a key from someone. You're trying to find somebody. You've got this primary objective, and you kind of have to find the time to do that main quest while you're doing these other things, so that nobody questions your monk-like validity. They could totally do that in a kung fu setting in this game. You could just totally take that up and put that in there. That would be a really cool scene. That would be a little adventure in there. It just could be something that you do with a grandmaster or something. Just you're part of like a training thing or something. All these little temples that you train at, and you spar and fight and multi-fight and all that stuff. It's cool as like an option to start, but like it would be cool to enroll in it. And then maybe a grandmaster is like, why don't you enroll in this school, prove that you can be top of the line at that school, and then you can face me and I'll teach you specific moves. And in the meantime, I'll also show a bit about the martial arts world, and I'll tell more about Lon D or something. Or maybe your dad. I'll tell you a little bit more about your dad while I'm training you personally. And then that's it. You got it. You learn the move that he's going to teach you. All this cool martial arts stuff. I would like that. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of this stuff. Like I'm a fan of it. I grew up liking these films, and so this game, it really just hits it. It hits it really good. All right, I think I spurred really good. I was really enjoying that a great deal. I am so sad that it's over. Like, it's over now, and I don't know what to